You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Air and Airport, we are here for our 160th celebration of Keeping Canada Weird. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing good. I'm in a remote location. I can't really say where I am, but I guess I could. You know the way Dick Cheney was always in a different location kind of during 9/11?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar situation with you and I right now.
Okay. It's nothing to do with the election. It's just
nothing to do with the election. It's just it's complicated times. So I think it's better for you to be in a different location than me.
Okay.
So I am in a secret bunker that does have a nautical theme. There is a nautical painting behind me here.
Okay. Well, whatever the secret location is, it's much nicer than your normal location. I'm used to you slumming it in your spare room. You're in like an office.
I take offense to that. No, that's offensive.
Okay. Well, the nautical painting has already revealed too much. Our haters are currently trying to triangulate your location. So let's just move forward and reveal our special drinks. Before we do, though, I have a voicemail from a listener. I want to play that first because it's from Chris and it involves special drinks.
Okay.
Hi, this message is for Handsome and Bus Stop. Long-time listener, first-time caller inner. I've been meaning to contribute to your beverage segment. I need to recommend to you Canada Dry's Zero Sugar Ginger Ale. It's one of those rare zero sugar drinks that doesn't taste like sadness. Anyways, check it out if you haven't. Keep up the extremely adequate work. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Extremely adequate is definitely not the worst we've heard.
No, I'm glad the bar is set at adequate because that's easily achievable by you and I. So I like that. Adequate is good for me.
He may think we're adequate, but I'm about to blow his mind by revealing my special drink on Chris's recommendation. I ran to Shoppers Drug Mart.
No.
And I bought a Canada Dry Zero Sugar Ginger Ale. I'll be honest. Thank you, Chris. I didn't know Canada Dry made Zero Sugar Ginger Ale. I love ginger ale, and I just don't drink it often, being a sugar avoider. Let me just try it right quick. He was right. That doesn't taste like sadness.
What does sadness taste like, though? That's the kind of what I'm wondering from the voicemail. It sounds like Chris has drank sadness before.
I think
is sadness a bottled product that maybe Coca-Cola or Pepsi releases?
I think Chris just has his own stuff going on, and it seems to really float to the surface when he cracks open a diet drink.
Right.
What do you got over there?
I got a glass of white wine on an empty stomach. So.
Oh my God! In a strange location, drinking.
Yeah. White wine, empty stomach. I'm excited to record tonight.
Good.
That's all I can say.
Well, let's get into it. We got to address the elephant in the room. We've made it clear from the very beginning that Keep Canada Weird is not a political show, despite for a period of time we were directly overseen by ex-Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. We've escaped his reign of terror, and we are now independent and apolitical. But that said, this episode is going to be heard by most people Friday or over the weekend. Monday is when Canada votes. Should we get political tonight? Should Keep Canada Weird jump the shark and recommend an official candidate to support?
I'm not going to recommend anybody for anyone to support. I'm simply going to walk the middle ground in the center where I like to thrive. So I'm going to not try to sway anybody in either direction because I'm just not qualified to do so.
I feel the exact same way, but I do know how Keep Canada Weird can contribute to the political discourse that has taken over every bit of Canadian life, it seems, over the last week or two. As Canadians gear up for the upcoming federal election, of course, our news cycle is saturated with campaign promises, political posturing, and assorted divisive nonsense. With Keep Canada Weird being a non-political show, we're not going to get into who should lead the country, but we can provide our analysis to two recent campaign ads by the two leading parties. Our analysis, hopefully, will help answer the question that is plaguing the minds of Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Which party created the worst political ad. I chose what I believe to be the worst Liberal campaign ad and the worst Conservative campaign ad. And I figured what we could do here is just play them, decide which is worse, and let Canada decide who they want to lead the country.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to pick the worst from the worst.
Okay.
It's what my entire life has been based off of.
Do you have any thoughts on political ads in general? I'll tell you, they drive me nuts because they're usually just like talking about the flavor of the moment while criticizing the competition. I find it awful and nonsensical.
I tell you, I've never seen a good political ad, and I would challenge anybody to find me a good political ad that actually riles me up and gets me to want to go and vote.
Really, I will say that for this segment, I did try to find an NDP ad so we could have the three biggest parties. But when I was going through the NDP ads, I won't say any of them were good, but I just couldn't find one that was like uniquely awful the way I could with the Liberals and the Conservatives.
Right.
Let's get into it here. We don't want to give benefit to one party or the other. So should we flip a coin to decide who we start with, the Liberals or Conservatives?
Well, let's start with the Liberals. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay. Why flip a coin when you're drinking,
when I can just shoot from the hip. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So let's play a recent Liberal campaign ad. People who watch the news a lot in Canada will likely have seen this one. It stars ex-SNL cast member and famous comedian Mike Myers. Also, he played Austin Powers. He was Wayne from Wayne's World. He also moved to the United States many years ago, but he came back to support the Liberal leader for this campaign ad that sees Mike Myers and Liberal leader Mark Carney standing at a hockey rink watching a hockey game together. Here it comes.
Mr. Prime Minister, Mike Myers, what are you doing here?
I just thought I'd come up and check on things.
You live in the States,
Yeah, but I'll always be Canadian.
but you live in the States.
Yeah, so?
Do you remember Mr. Dressup?
The children's show on CBC?
What were the names of Mr. Dressup's two puppet friends?
Casey and Finnegan?
Bud the
Spud?
Howie,
Meeker?
capital Saskatchewan.
Regina?
Tragically,
Pip?
you're a defenseman defending a 2-on-1. What do you do?
Take away the pass, obviously.
What are the two seasons in Toronto?
Winter and construction?
Wow, you really are Canadian.
Yeah. But let me ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada?
There will always be a Canada.
All right, elbows up.
Elbows up.
I don't know if I can put my finger on what made that cringy, but I did get that feeling of secondhand embarrassment. Like I wouldn't want to watch that around other people because I would feel embarrassed.
Yeah, it came so quickly on the heels of Mike Myers in his SNL appearance, and when he was doing the elbows up kind of gesture to the audience, and the Carney party certainly wanted to take advantage of that immediately and then film this ad with Mike Myers. So it's not like this would have happened if the elbows up thing didn't happen on SNL. So
Yeah. Or if the Trump thing didn't happen, because it's a very like the ad is very much like we're Canadians and here are some uniquely Canadian thing. And Mark Carney gets it. He is a Canadian. He knows all about the Tragically Hip and that Regina is the capital. I even found the references kind of silly, with the exception of like what are the seasons in Toronto, winter and construction. I kind of like that.
yeah, that was kind of a good joke, but having Mike Myers do it, who's someone who doesn't live in Canada right now, is a little suspect to me. I get it that he did the SNL thing and he did the elbows up thing and everybody kind of got charged by that and everyone kind of got behind it. But at the same time, the dude doesn't live here anymore. So what are we really getting behind here with someone who's saying elbows up, but yeah, I live in the United States. So
Yeah, that's a good point. And it was put together so quick. Like Mike Myers must have walked off the stage at after Saturday Night Live. The Liberal Party saw the way people were reacting and they immediately called him like, please come over here. And also, does it not strike you a little bit like something like a Tim Hortons commercial where it's like they're wearing Canadian hockey jerseys, they're at a hockey rink. It's so over the top. Canadian that it's almost like they're trying to like overcompensate for something.
It's a bit insulting, to be honest. I find it a bit kind of a low ball to Canadians, like the same way a Tim Hortons ad is, where
Yeah.
they show clips of people playing hockey, and then, the hockey mom and the hockey dad come in with their trays of donuts and their little thermoses of Tim Hortons coffee. And they're just like, look at how Canadian Tim Hortons is, and look at how Canadian we are. And Canadians only have 5 things that we all identify with, and it's hockey and Tim Hortons coffee, and it's construction, and it's winter, and it's just we're only identifiable by a handful of things when there's a mosaic of personalities in this country, and the stereotypes are just hit harder by ads like this. And it's like there's a lot more going on in this country than just that, and it's frustrating.
Okay, well, here comes the next one. Let's see how you react to this. This is an altogether different ad. This is a Conservative Party ad who are running against the Liberals. According to the main polls, they're slightly behind the Liberals for their chances of winning. It seems like recently the Conservative ads have removed the Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. The ads lately, the latest run of ads, do not feature him. Instead, feature either ex-politicians or, in this case, 2 actors who are old men on a golf course who are just kind of complaining in general about the economy. Here's the Conservatives' golfing ad, as I call it. And this one is going to make you cringe, I promise. Here it comes.
How's your son, David?
Well, it's been a tough few years for him. He just can't seem to get ahead.
Yeah, we had to pay for Sarah's down payment last year. Things are tough for her, too.
You know what Mark Carney says.
Come on, do you really think that a 4th Liberal term is going to change anything?
You know, I've been thinking the same thing.
Are we really going to give these clowns a 4th term? I'm voting Conservative. There you go.
Yeah, for a change.
Oh, man. First of all, like, is that not a first world's problem ad? Like, one of the guy's kids, having a tough time, but it sounds like she just bought a house last year. Sure, her dad helped with the down payment.
Yeah.
But did she not buy a house last year? Like, I just think given everything that's going on in this country, that's a weird ad.
You know what offends me the most about this ad? It's not, the politics behind it. It's the fact that they got 2 of by far the worst older actors that they could possibly cast in this commercial. These guys are terrible. And
yeah, they are.
And as a performer, I'm hyper offended by it. Couldn't you do a casting call? Couldn't you reach out to the entire country and say, hey, we're doing a political ad, it pays. We're looking for professional actors, not complete gray-haired yokels on a golf course that have no talent whatsoever, to be in a Conservative ad about older men with money. Like, who? This is insane. This is insane. This ad.
Yeah, and I do like that the jab at Carney. Like, he's about to say something about Carney. He's like, yeah, but Mark Carney, wait a minute. You're going to give those clowns a 4th term?
Yeah, he calls him a clown.
Like
a clown.
That's my favorite part of the ad. That's the only good part of that whole ad.
Yeah. The writing is possibly even moderately worse than the acting in this political ad. So at least Carney had Mike Myers, who again doesn't live here right now. It's and it was kind of lowballing us Canadians with their references. But in this ad, the acting is bad, the writing is bad. It's all around the worst one of the 2 for sure.
But it didn't pour on the Canadiana like the Liberal ad did, and because of that, I don't know if I could choose a worse ad. I feel like both of those ads, in my mind, are tied for worse ads.
And I feel like the Poilievre one is a little worse because it's 2 old white dudes golfing, complaining about the economy, and it's like, you know what?
Yeah,
none of us have time for that. It's complete bullcrap.
We had to help her with her down payment. Come on,
Yeah.
anyway.
You're golfing. You're golfing. That's a rich man sport. Enough.
Okay. Before we get into the show and find the weird news stories from Canada over the past week, I have one more little political thing to get into. I don't know if this has come across your radar. It probably has, because this involves an MP candidate out of Cape Breton. It's a new riding, which is like Cape Breton and Antigonish. It's a federal riding. There's a candidate running for MP named Rebecca Wall, and I'm going to give her kind of an honorary award of shame for the worst viral moments so far of the Canadian election cycle. Rebecca Wall actually was involved in two separate videos, separate from one another, that have both quote unquote gone viral for nonsense. The first one involves, we can call this the Rebecca Wall fart video. This is a video where Rebecca Wall was doing a live stream. So she's kind of like, looks like she's in like a little like shed sort of thing, holding her phone in front of her, and she's discussing her political ideas to whichever followers are tuning into her live stream. And something very unfortunate happens, and you don't need to see the video to know what happens. You will hear it loud and clear.
Oh, I'm excited.
Here's one of my favorite videos from the election cycle, Rebecca Wall's fart.
I love the title.
And if you want the publicity, or you want to start your own party or your own government, or you don't think non-native and native people should mix in government, okay, great, that's your opinion, but that's not everybody's opinion. What was that? Oh my God. I may have had a piece of cheese a few minutes ago. Anyway, we will just skip by that.
Have you heard that before?
No. This is the first time my eyes are and ears are being graced by this fart video from this candidate for public office.
She's talking, and then she just kind of stops talking, and she looks concerned. And then you hear an audible passing of gas.
Yeah.
She reacts by going like, "Oh, like what was that?" sort of thing. But then she, with one hand, she grabs the curtain that's next to her and she starts shaking it, explains that she ate cheese, and then says like the most, like, this would never work. She said, "We're just going to move on." And she goes back into it. Mm-hmm. Anybody watching that is like, wait a sec, I'm hugely distracted by what just happened.
I respect it. I love a good fart video. I think farts are funny. I'm not ashamed. And I like the idea that she's using farts to get people's attention. She's thinking outside the box. And I think that this is a better political ad than Poilievre's two old men on a golf course ad. Because, farts are, they catch my attention.
They at least don't divide a nation.
No, everyone farts. That's what's so beautiful about it, is that everybody relates to that. Everybody eats cheese and everybody farts.
We know what she's dealing with here, and good on her for not editing it or something. She's just leaving it out there for the world to see.
No, that's what's so, yeah. She's like, I'm a human being. I rip ones here and there at the mall, in my car, at family reunions, whatever.
You know how we decided which was the worst political ad, the Liberals or the Conservatives? We're giving Rebecca Wall an award for the worst viral moment, but she actually has two that we can decide which is the worst. So we had the fart video, but there is another another video going around of her from just last week that is also quite comical. So there was a debate for all the MPs in her riding. Of course, you've seen those debates where they're all up on stage talking. Mm-hmm. A part of her campaign and a lot of what she talks about is the representation of the Indigenous people of Canada within the federal government. I believe she lives, she is white, but I believe she lives on an Indigenous reservation somewhere in Cape Breton, I believe. But all that to say is she's on stage answering the questions at the debate, and she makes a point to explain that there's not enough federal MPs of Indigenous background. She makes that a strong point, not realizing that one of the people she's running against is one of the Indigenous MPs. And they call her out on it.
Okay.
Listen to this. We'll call this Rebecca's Indigenous flub.
Anything you want to mention, Jaime, or anyone else want in?
And Mr. Batiste, with all due respect, there's only 11 Indigenous people in Parliament right now. That is not enough influence.
And you're trying to take a seat away from the one of them.
Anyone else want in on Canada's relationship with Indigenous people?
Is one worse than the other? I think what ended up happening there was kind of a bit of a conflict between her talking points and the fact that she's running against one of the 11 Indigenous MPs.
Yeah. I think she should stick to farting. I think that's her strong suit. That's her wheelhouse. She's good at farting, and she can do it on command, which is interesting. So I think that's kind of where she should focus her priorities and veer away from highlighting the the Indigenous aspect of who she's running against.
I like that. I agree with you. The fart video wins for best viral moment so far of this election cycle. But with all that said, let's have our first ad break of the night. When we get back, we'll break down some of the past week's weird Canadian news stories, and we're going to focus on a duo of stories involving dealing with people that you perceive to be awful. That's our first theme. We'll get into that after this short break.
Great.
I promised you a duo of stories related to dealing with people you perceive to be awful, but to set the scene, let's hear a voicemail from a listener named Iris, who asks us a question about a past story involving a person dealing with someone they perceive to be awful. Specifically, dealing with someone who has a large, penis-shaped concrete statue on their front lawn, like we discussed last week. Here's what Iris had to say.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Iris. And I was listening to your guys' episode last week about a man displaying a very graphic phallic sculpture on his front yard. And I was kind of surprised to hear Jordan say that he found this to be pretty harmless and just kind of funny, which I personally agree with. But I think it would bother me a bit more if I had young children who had to see this every day as they went to school, or if I was potentially trying to sell my home and this giant penis was scaring away potential buyers. So I guess my question is, if this was your neighbor and, your kids started asking about it, how would you go about explaining this to them? And would this potentially motivate you guys to confront your neighbor and request that they take it down?
This is complicated.
I don't know if it's that complicated. I agree with, if you were selling the house, it would be really difficult to have your real estate agent try to explain why the house next door has a large concrete statue of a penis. But if you have a good real estate agent, then that real estate agent is going to reach out to the penis community, and they are going to only bring by buyers that are penis friendly. That's a good point. That could be a sales feature, a selling point.
It really could.
As far as discussing it from the point of view of a parent, I'm a parent of two boys who are deep into potty humor. And I will tell you, my boys see the shape of penises all over the world, and they would not be offended.
Hold on. Say that statement again. They see the shape of penises all over the world?
In things you would never...
What does that mean?
They see the shape of penises in things you would never expect. Like, my son will just start laughing, and I'll be like, what? And he'll be like, look at that. And then if I kind of squint my eyes and turn my head the right way, I'm like, okay, yeah, it looks like it.
All over the world, though? I don't understand that part.
All throughout the world.
All throughout the world, okay.
You know the kids who just draw, they'll write the F word somewhere, then they draw a penis on something. My kids would never do that sort of thing, but they chuckle every time they see someone who did. My kids would think it was hilarious if they saw this.
Well, they don't do it around you, but surely your sons are drawing penises at school, on the playground, in snow, all over the place.
I hope not. Actually, a funny story is I walked my kids to school. This is like 2 days ago. I walked my kids to school, and on the back of their school, somebody overnight had spray painted the F word.
Oh,
It just
yeah, nice.
F-U-C-K,
Yeah.
spray painted on the school. And I saw it as I'm walking my kids to school at, 8 in the morning. Both my kids went, and then I looked and I realized there was like a crowd of like 40 kids just standing there looking at it, all going, and I thought this is the most exciting thing that's happened to those kids all day.
Well,
So needless to say, if we lived near the concrete penis statue, I'm sure my kids and all their stupid friends would be standing on the street out front being like, look at that.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of graffiti in my neighborhood that some is just someone's name, but others are more controversial than that, similar to what you're talking about. If we could ever do a video episode and I could bring you around and show you some of my favorite ones, but it would have to be an after dark Keep Canada Weird, I think.
Oh, that bad?
Very bad, yeah.
I remember in high school, I'm thinking 20 something years ago. I remember the desk I sat at in one classroom, somebody carved into the wood top of the desk. It said, I worship satin. Satin.
Oh yeah, I worship satin.
Every day I would sit down.
What was the thing that we were talking about in terms of this voicemail?
How would we explain to our kids the phallic?
Oh yeah, we didn't answer that at all.
I would need to explain it to my kids. I would let them just laugh and we'd keep walking. I wouldn't be offended.
I would just say, my son, this is a man's concrete giant penis, and sometimes in this world you come across these things and it's normal and it's fine.
Okay. Let's move on. I told you that this segment is going to be people dealing with people they perceive to be awful. Thank you for setting it up for us, Iris, but let's get into it. The first story is a doozy. What was meant to be a peaceful round of golf at the Two Eagles golf course in West Kelowna, BC, turned into an all-out brawl on the 18th hole, sparked by frustration over slow play. It was all caught on camera, and it's now under RCMP investigation. Let's get into the story of the Kelowna golf brawl. Our second golf story of the night. The Conservatives set us up for this.
I know.
Here it comes.
Jennifer Pont had just finished the 17th hole at Two Eagles Golf Course in West Kelowna on Monday when she heard a commotion on the 18th tee.
At first, I wasn't sure if people were just like, yelling to have a good time. It's like late into the round, so usually people have had some pops by then. But then it became clear that this yelling was really aggressive.
This is what she saw when she approached the 18th. Two groups of golfers pushing and shoving and eventually trading punches.
Those were hard hits. It was gross to listen to. There was blood on people's clothing. It was just a mess. It was just so shocking. That's wild.
As she recorded the chaos, Pont realized one group, upset the foursome ahead of them was playing too slow, had hit a ball into them.
There was a guy in the slow group. It was his birthday, actually. So they were celebrating his birthday. He got punched in the face. And his pregnant wife was there with him, too. And she was just bewildered. A lot of wounded egos, a lot of shameful, appalling behavior that you just don't do on a golf course.
RCMP were called, and Pont's video is now part of a police investigation. In a statement, Two Eagles said, "We hold all parties responsible in the desecration of our beautiful golf course, and we formally request the parties involved acknowledge the damage done to each other."
Their staff handled the situation with the utmost professionalism, and I hope it doesn't reflect badly on the course at all.
Not surprisingly, Pont's video of the golf fight has gone viral.
Our phones have been blowing up from friends and family, and we're like, oh my God, this thing's gone crazy.
The avid golfer hopes she never encounters any of these players on the links again.
I think they should be banned. You don't brawl on a golf course. I mean, who does that? That is so insane. It's so crazy. Maybe choose another sport like boxing or something.
From now on, I hope every crazy event we cover is witnessed by her. Her delivery was amazing.
I know. She was great. I'm really conflicted in what I want to say about this video, but I'll let you start, please.
I'm just gonna say, like, it's just a bunch of idiots on a golf course. One of them got a broken jaw as a result of this. So if you're like a 50-something-year-old man out for a quiet day golfing, and you end up getting in a fight and breaking your jaw, and you get your shirt ripped off, and you're on the news getting punched and punching back.
That guy really got humiliated in this video because the guy in the blue shirt beats the crap out of him. Every time the guy in the white shirt, who ended up losing his shirt, but like kept trying to come at him, the big guy in the blue shirt just kept like cracking him in the face
and just dropping him over and over.
Dropping him, like, it was terrible. But you know what? Golf, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really trying to not take a group of people and tell them what they like is dumb, but golf sucks. Like, look at these people. Like, look at the Polyev video. Look at these people beating the crap out of each other over you're taking too long. It's like, stop it, people. This sport has brought out the worst in humanity, and it needs to cease. Something needs to stop here. This sport needs to be put in the grave. It needs to go. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sure there's a lot of golfers who listen to this podcast. And I'm sorry.
A ton
of golfers are. I think 60 to 70% of our audience are golfers. And I'm sorry to completely abandon them, but I have. I have no respect for the sport. I have no time for it.
Is it a sport or is it a game, though?
It's not a sport. It's nonsense. There, I said it.
Okay. Well, I don't know how strongly I feel about golf. I think I've only played it a couple times. I'm into mini putt. Like, if that's golf, I find mini putt.
Mini putt is a gentleman's sport. I agree. Mini putt is 100% a gentleman's sport. It takes precision. It takes being calm. It takes patience. And you get to eat ice cream because usually it's connected to a place that serves ice cream.
Yeah. All right. I agree with that.
Great.
So settled that one. Let's move on to our second and final story involving dealing with people you perceive to be awful. This one, we kind of have to take a roundabout route to it. And in fact, I wasn't sure if this story should have been featured on Keep Canada Weird or on my Encounters with Creeps series, because it's kind of inviting both weird and creepy. It involves the TTC, which is the Toronto Transit Commission, which oversees Toronto's public transit, like buses, streetcars, and subways. The Toronto Transit Commission just recently finished a massive ad campaign called Between Stations that encouraged romantic and platonic connections to be made between riders of their service. As you can imagine, it didn't sit well with a lot of the people who ride the TTC. Here comes the story of the TTC's worst ad campaign. We're on a roll with bad ads as well. You remember last week, the Rona insulted the donkey?
I do remember. The half-assed donkey. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, here comes the TTC's ad flub.
A new TTC campaign is stirring up conversation and some controversy online tonight. It's called Between Stations, a video and poster series that highlights human connection on Toronto's transit system. But not everyone is on board with the messaging. The videos encourage riders to spark conversations and make new friends.
I think I want to go a little bit out of my comfort zone.
And maybe even meet someone special.
How long have you been single for?
Like a year, I guess? Yeah.
The posters splash across stations and streetcars hint at everything from simple kindness to subway romance. But not everyone's feeling the love.
For many women, public transit is not a neutral space. It's a place where we are constantly calculating our safety.
The Toronto influencer Chloe Bow called out the campaign on TikTok in a now viral video saying it sends the wrong message.
It might be encouraging behavior that's unwanted and unnecessary.
Many online agreed, sharing stories of being harassed and followed on their daily commute.
As women, we don't want to be approached by strangers. We're looking for safe and accessible transportation.
The TTC says the Between Stations campaign was developed as part of a corporate initiative to increase ridership and meant to highlight moments of kindness. Officials say it was inspired by real-life stories of people who have met and made connections on the transit system. But for Bo, she says public transit should be about getting around the city,
without being made to feel uncomfortable.
I do think there needs to be more kindness and compassion for people in the city, especially when we're facing a housing crisis, and there's many people who are unhoused who are using the TTC to get around or spend their day. But I think the general consensus is just to let people ride in peace.
Just one comment for all the people on the TTC that are facing homelessness. I wonder if they could get their parents to pay their down payments.
Oh, yeah. Well, talk to Polyev because he knows two very wealthy golfers that will happily help you out when you are in a financial bind.
What do you think of this? Clearly, I don't even know if I need to ask, but this is a bad idea that wasn't well thought out.
If they're going to...
I would think most people don't want this.
No one wants this. If you're going to have an ad at the TTC for anything, it should be a person sitting alone in a chair with earbuds in. That's what the ad should be. Don't talk to me. I don't want to know you. I don't want to know anybody in here. I just want to get to work and I just want to live my life. What are they thinking, that you want people to approach other people in the subway? The subway is not a place to socialize. It's a place to get from to and fro. That is it. That is it.
To even suggest that you are encouraging the forming of relationships, be it romantic or platonic, the TTC has a lot of problems on there. Social problems, problems with safety, with random murders that happen way more often than you would think. People pushing people on the tracks and stuff on the TTC. To encourage this, come on. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. That is so tone deaf.
No, it's completely tone deaf. It's unfortunate. Have they gotten rid of it? Is it gone?
It's gone, yeah. But they still have actually on the TTC's YouTube channel, they have a series of videos that, you want to talk about cringy videos. It's a series of videos about people who met on the TTC, and it's kind of like celebrating their unique story of...
No, nobody's met on the TTC. It has never happened.
I would think if there is stories out there of people falling in love on the TTC, for every one of those success stories, there's probably 5,000 to 10,000 stories of leering and... He was breathing down my neck, and then a rat ran by, and
the worst stories in the world.
And then some guy puked.
Terrible things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever fallen in love on the TTC.
No, certainly not. For people who are listening and they can't see, I'm actually giving the TTC's advertising people the middle finger right now.
That's the ring finger.
I know, but I don't want to do the real finger.
How come? Are you scared?
All right, F it.
Oh my God, you did it. I baited you into doing it. Let's go to a golf course right now and give me the middle finger and see what happens.
See what happens to me. Instead of that, let's take our second and final ad break. When we get back, we're going to catch up with a past guest who owns an abandoned jail in Dorchester, New Brunswick, and hear a couple voicemails, and then we can put a bow on it. But we got a lot more to the show before we do that. So let's take our final break now. Aaron, let me just say a name for you, and you tell me if this means anything for you.
Okay.
Bill Steele.
Bill Steele means everything to me. He's a hero. He's a Canadian hero. Mark Carney should have had a political ad, not with Mike Myers, but with Bill goddamn Steele.
A true Canadian. Bill Steele is the eccentric and controversial owner of that abandoned Dorchester jail that he turned into a bed and breakfast. Well, Bill Steele is back in the spotlight, but this time it's for a love story. Bill Steele's offbeat venue just hosted its first ever wedding. Rachel and Ashley Quinn tied the knot in a former prison cell, proving once again that Bill Steele is doing more than his fair share to keep Canada weird. Here's the story, and I will shame the news outlet that aired this because they don't mention Bill Steele or his unique story. In fact, I think it's Bill Steele's partner that appears in it.
Missed opportunity.
Huge, and also you will see that in the wedding ceremony that was held in his jail, whoever's like officiating, like the priest or whatever the person is that's reading the vows, that also is not Bill Steele. Second missed opportunity, but here's the story.
Massively missed opportunity.
For some unlucky couples, marriage can feel, well, like a prison sentence. But that's certainly not the case for Rachel and Ashley Quinn, who tied the knot Saturday in an old jail.
You may now
We wanted to break some traditions and do something unique, and I just have a passion for old places.
The St. John couple were married at the Dorchester jail bed and breakfast in front of about 30 family and friends in a short romantic ceremony. The former prison was built in 1875, but it's been decades since inmates served their sentences here.
I really wanted to have a wedding here. I like unique places, and this just stood out to me, and especially when our family was hesitant about us coming here, it made me want to do it even more.
The wedding took place in what was once a general population cell, which used to house up to 30 men. The owners of the Dorchester jail bed and breakfast say they've had a few quirky or out-of-the-ordinary events since they opened 8 years ago, but they've never had anything quite like this.
We've had the privilege of having about 8 bride and grooms come and spend their first night of holy matrimony with us, but this is our first ever wedding, and it's certainly exciting.
The lovebirds hadn't actually stepped inside the old prison until Saturday's ceremony, but when they saw some videos online, they went straight to Mom.
I'd like to have my wedding right there. And Ashley, of course, is all for it because their two minds think alike. And they came and they said, Mom, can you do a wedding at the jail?
But some of Ashley's family did have a few reservations.
The grandparents weren't too fond of it, but they came around.
The newlyweds spent the night behind bars and plan on coming back every year on their anniversary.
I like the story because it involves the jail that we've covered on this show several times. It involves Bill Steele, although we don't hear his name evoked and don't hear him speak. But really, there wasn't much to that story. They were really trying to get something out of this because it is unique that there's a wedding in this offbeat Airbnb. But when they asked the people getting married, why? It's basically just, we like old places. And if she likes it, I'm okay, whatever. Like, it's caught her eye. And then they wanted to get, maybe try to get some play out of the family having reservations about doing a wedding there. But even then, they're just like, nah, whatever.
Why is Bill Steele so absent from the whole thing, though? He's created the place. He's renovated it. He's making it happen. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, I think maybe there's more to it than we think. But I wish the couple a happy life together. And the irony of getting married in a jail is not lost on me. Although they kind of opened the news piece with that kind of analogy or comparison, but I think it's worth repeating.
Yeah, no, I wish them all the best with their marriage. I think it's lovely. I doubt they met on the TTC. I can say with great confidence that they did not meet on the TTC. So I wish them all the best, and I wish Bill Steele the best with his jail, because he's branching out into new and exciting events, weddings, people who just want to stay there, and God knows what else Bill Steele gets up to in that jail.
I just want to again float the idea of you and I staying in that jail. We did receive a personal invite from Bill Steele. The weather is warming up. We did say that's something we'd consider this summer. So let me ask you, Aaron, will you stay in that jail with me this summer?
If Bill Steele will have me, yes, I will stay at Bill Steele's jail.
With me?
With you, yeah. In the same cell, or?
We can talk about it. We'll put up a vote for the listeners.
So if the listeners want us, I've heard from many listeners, and they want you and I to get married.
Okay. I hear it all the time.
You hear it all. I do too. And this could be an opportunity for you and I. Maybe the intern could come and officiate, and we could finally tie the knot. I'd say yes to the dress. Okay. Yeah, I'm interested.
Okay. Well, with all that said, let's start wrapping up the show, but let's go out on a high note. We don't have a Keep Canada romantic participant tonight, so we're going to put that on the back burner for now. But we are going to again feature another lovely story involving seniors eating ice cream. We have Hannah, who has the inside scoop on seniors eating ice cream.
Inside scoop.
I didn't intend. That just came right out.
Oh, that's very, very well played, my friend.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my name is Hannah. I'm from BC, but I currently live in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. I was just listening to your most recent mailbag episode, and you got to the part about senior citizens eating ice cream again. When I was younger, I actually used to work in an ice cream shop, And while I can't offer any insight about hard versus soft ice cream, I can correct Jordan on his thoughts about their ice cream preferences. Every so often at the shop where I work, we'd get older folks coming in, and without question, every time it would always either be maple walnut, rum raisin, or if they were feeling a little bit exciting, pralines and cream. Maybe sometimes they'd get vanilla, but not nearly as often as rum raisin or maple walnut. Now, do I think old people have bad taste in ice cream? Maybe. Anyway, keeping Canada weird. Bye.
That hit home for me because I think of going to my grandmother's house. She always had ice cream, and like as a kid, I'd be like, "Oh, sweet! Like there's a bunch of ice cream here," but it was always maple walnut. So I would put it in a bowl, and I would very carefully just like pull all the vanilla out of the maple walnut cereal, leaving all the maple.
But
or
didn't you
maple walnut
insinuate
ice cream.
that seniors only like vanilla ice cream? Was that the issue in that?
No, I think I insinuated that seniors preferred soft serve as opposed to
But
hard serve.
I had stood up for the seniors, and I said seniors like hard ice cream because that's what they grew up with, because they lived through the Great Depression, they lived through economic turmoil, World War II, all of these tragic world events. So they're hardened, and they like their ice cream just like their life events. Hard AF.
Yeah, I am going to offer a correction because now that I think of it, seniors eat that hard ice cream because that's how you get the maple walnut and all those flavors. So yeah, seniors, I offer the correction. Thank you, Hannah, for correcting me. It's rare that we got to go back and fix things.
And they like exciting flavors. You talked earlier, like a number of months ago, about how you like to watch seniors, seeing them do things like normal things, and you like that. And it's something that I'm not going to speak to what you like about it, but you like it. And what thing you didn't watch them do is eat ice cream. That I know for sure.
That will change.
Because if you watch them, you know they'd be eating hard ice cream, because seniors are tough and they're respected.
Do you know what's tough and respected? This show and our approach to keeping Canada weird. But sadly, it's also coming to an end because we got to put a bow on this.
We do have to put a bow on it. Yeah.
Handsome Aaron Airport, we've been through a lot tonight. I couldn't imagine going through any more. So Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan Backhoe Bus Stop Bonaparte, until next time.
If you see a bunch of golfers on a subway train, oh boy, pull out your cell phone because it's going to go down one way or another.
Yeah, and Jordan, until next time, I will marry you in a prison.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, Nicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.